The BJP is calling it the Mandir, Mandal, Market, Millets, and Mandi movement. I'm Barkha Dutt. You're with the Mojo story. Today we are looking at another Bharat Ratna move by Prime Minister Modi. The Modi government has announced three new Bharat Ratnas, among them for former Congress Prime Minister Narasimha Rao for opening the country to global markets. Along with Mr. Rao, who's the first Congress Prime Minister outside of the Nehru Gandhi family to be conferred with this honor, Bharat Ratnas were also announced for Chaudhary Charan Singh, former Prime Minister, and for MS Swaminathan, agricultural scientist. Now, like with everything else that the Modi government does, these decisions are also deeply political. The Bharat Ratna for Chaudhary Charan Singh, for example, comes at a time and on a day when Jayant Singh has pretty much confirmed that the RLD is moving towards the NDA or is all set to join it. In the Karpoori Thakur Bharat Ratna as well, you can see the government actually thinking, or the BJP actually thinking about the OBC vote. And of course, the Bharat Ratna to LK Advani was a recognition of the Mandir movement. To talk about the politics, the messaging behind the Bharat Ratna decisions, five announced this year. Let's introduce our panel of guests this evening as we look at this very intriguing and interesting subject. The five M's, as the BJP is calling it, and the sixth M, of course, Modi himself. Rahul Dev, veteran journalist and editor, is with us. Always a pleasure, Rahul. Welcome to the program. Sandip Ghose, normally a supporter of the Prime Minister, today had an acerbic comment or two on Charan Singh as a choice, said Nitish Kumar now has hope. We'll find out more about his position in a moment. Mohan Kumaramangalam, Congress leader, is with us. Has the BJP shown up the Congress? Why didn't the Congress recognize and honor Mr. Rao? First is the question that must haunt the Congress today. Also joining us is Dr. Sanjay Baru, who is, of course, an author and former media advisor to Dr. Manmohan Singh, somebody who also came in for high praise as the Prime Minister paid tributes to Dr. Singh from the floor of Parliament this past week. And Ashwini Shahi, leader of the BJP and spokesperson of the party, is with us as well. Let me actually start, if I may, with you, Mohan, because the question that's going to be asked of the Congress, and I'll play out Sonia Gandhi's response, a one-line response in just a moment. Why couldn't you guys do this? Why would you create a scenario where you leave it to the BJP to honor two of your most accomplished politicians, Pranab Mukherjee and now Narasimha Rao, especially with the history of the Congress having been criticized for how Narasimha Rao was actually treated by the Gandhi family? Mohan, your thoughts this evening?
Why couldn't we give it to him is sort of a strange question. Why haven't we given one to Mahatma Gandhi? Why haven't we given one to Rabindranath Tagore, Swami Vivekananda? There's so many people you could have given the Bharat Ratna to. Now, if you want to say it specifically as a Congress politician, as a Congress Prime Minister, then, Mr. Narasimha Rao, even though he was definitely responsible for the 91 reforms, has a bit of a mixed legacy with us as a party chief. I mean, it was during his tenure that the party split up in many places. You had formations like Congress Tiwari get formed. You had people like Madhav Sindhya who left the party during that time. And there was this general belief also that the party had weakened to a great extent under him. I'm not saying that's why you would not give him a Bharat Ratna. I'm just saying that the relationship between the Congress and Mr. Narasimha Rao is not as black and white as we would like to have would like to have us believe. The other thing I want to say is that we did celebrate his centenary, birthday celebrations in Gandhi Bhavan in Telangana with quite a lot of pomp. So it's not like we haven't recognized him, and we never take away from the fact that he was the architect with Dr. Manmohan Singh of the 1991 liberation reforms. Mr. Jairam Ramesh has written a book outlining his entire contribution to it as well. And Mr. Jairam Ramesh is very much a congressman, very much in the mix of things. So it's not like we're trying to deny him that either.
So Mohan, you do concede, and honestly so, that there's a kind of it's complicated Facebook status with Narasimha Rao and the Congress party.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it that flippantly, but yes, you could say that.
Yeah, well, I'm just distilling it for millennials and Gen Z. But yes, you have admitted to a mixed legacy. And I think that's an honest Congress response rather than a politically correct Congress response. And I expect similar honesty from you, Ashwini Shahi, as the BJP leader. बहुत अच्छी बात है कि आपने इन सारे दिग्गज वेटरन्स को ऑनर किया है, लेकिन अगर आप हमसे कहें कि इसमें राजनीति नहीं है तो कौन मानेगा? आज ही के दिन जयंत सिंह कहते हैं कि अब मैं किस मुंह से मना करूं. Of course, RLD will be moving towards the NDA. So, are you willing to concede as honestly that there is politics in this?
सबसे पहले तो भारत सरकार, प्रधानमंत्री जी और महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी को इस काम के लिए बधाई. और आपने जो सवाल पूछा उसमें मैं ये पूछूं, क्या ये महान विभूतियां नहीं है हमारे देश की, तो इसमें क्या जवाब आएगा? राजनीति बाद में देखा जाए, ये महान विभूतियां हैं. राजनीति तो वहां हुई थी जब पीवी नरसिम्हा राव साहब को गेट बंद कर दिया गया, उनको हैदराबाद ले जाना पड़ा. देखिए क्या क्या कह रहे हैं साहब. राजनीति तो उस समय हुई थी कि जब 1955 में जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी ने खुद ले लिया था. 71 में शायद. अब रुक जाइए, बाद में जवाब दे लीजिएगा.
Just 1 minute more.
71, मेरी बात पूरी आ जाने दीजिए, उसके बाद आप जवाब दीजिएगा. जो तर्क होगा आप काटिएगा हमारी बात को. उन्होंने ले लिया 55 में, 71 में इंदिरा गांधी जी ने ले लिया, और हमारे संविधान के रचयिता बाबा साहब को 90 में दिया गया. क्या बात है. राजीव गांधी जी 91 में पा रहे हैं, बाबा साहब पा रहे हैं 90 में, और बाबा साहब के साथ साथ वल्लभ भाई पटेल को 91 में दिया जा रहा है. उन दो विभूतियों को, इन दो विभूतियों से, मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूं कि राजीव जी का योगदान कम है या इंदिरा जी का योगदान कम है या नेहरू जी का, मगर जिस तरीके से दिया गया, पॉलिटिक्स उसको कहते हैं. जिस तरीके की आपने जो सवाल किया, मैं उसका जवाब दे रहा था बरखा जी. ये पॉलिटिक्स है कि बाबा साहब जिसने हमको संविधान दिया, आज उस संविधान की कस्में हम लोग खाते हैं. बाबा साहब का नाम हर व्यक्ति लेता है, मोहन जी हो, मैं हूं, कोई भी हो, हर आदमी पहले बाबा साहब का ही बात करता है. और राहुल जी तो खास करके कहते हैं कि संविधान की हत्या हो रही है. तो उस संविधान के निर्माता को हम कब दे रहे हैं, और अपने प्रधानमंत्री रहते कब ले लिया गया? आज उन विभूतियों का सम्मान किया गया. किसानों की बात करने वाले, आपने शुरू में कहा मंदिर, मंडल, मिलेट. देखिए इसका मतलब होता है इक्वल टू सबका साथ, सबका विकास और सबका विश्वास. ये हमारा जो नारा है, इसको चरितार्थ कर रहे हैं हम लोग. सभी वर्गों को लेकर चल रहे हैं. हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री थी.
एक और एम को भी इंक्लूड कर देते मनमोहन सिंह जी, तो कॉम्बिनेशन हो जाता है लिबरलाइजेशन.
नहीं, अभी क्या है, अभी हम तीसरे टर्म में आ रहे हैं. मनमोहन सिंह जी का योगदान देश के लिए कम थोड़े ही है. अभी देखिए कल जो है विदाई समारोह में माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने उनका महिमा मंडन किया, उनकी अच्छाइयों को बताया. और हम कहीं भी कहेंगे, क्योंकि कांग्रेसी कहते हैं मनमोहन सिंह जी का योगदान था, नरसिम्हा राव जी का योगदान नहीं था 91 में. ये तो बहुत लोगों के वो पड़े हुए हैं. करते हैं, ये बांटते हैं. हम लोग बांटते नहीं है, हम सबको वाकई सम्मान देते हैं जो हमने आज किया है और सरकार ने किया. जी.
Okay, I want to come to the others. Mohan, one line only, please. Mohan, one line. Yeah, Mohan Kumaramangalam.
I think it is well documented that Nehruji did not give himself the Bharat Ratna. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan has actually said in his memoirs as much that he regrets. He doesn't regret, sorry, but he admits that he out of turn gave it to him, breaking protocol. It was a cabinet decision when he was not even in the country then. So let's stop spreading these lies. This is like now clarified ad nauseum. And the same holds for Indira Gandhi ji. When Bibi Giri gave it to her out of turn. And by the way, Indira Gandhi did not only get that award, she got awards from countries across the world. A Gallup poll in 1971 said she was the most admired person then. And that was a real poll, not an American Consult joke of a poll that keeps getting quoted on TV now for the Prime Minister.
Okay, Mohan, but the fact is, and let me take this to Dr. Baru. Of course, there's politics in all of these decisions. I mean, we none of us are naive. We're all students of politics. There's politics in every move that Modi makes or any other politician makes. But you have to say it's a smart move when it's a smart move. And Sanjay, I know that you've not always been a fan of this government, but when you look at some of these decisions, whether it is Karpoori Thakur, whether it's LK Advani, Narasimha Rao, Chaudhary Charan Singh, MS Swaminathan, what do you say? And I ask you this as somebody who has been a veteran of the media, who has worked with Manmohan Singh, who has written on liberalization and economic reform extensively, who has argued that the Congress has not always got the credit that it should have. Do you think that the credit is finally being given to the right people? Dr. Baru? Give me a second, let us unmute you. Can we unmute Dr. Baru? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
First of all, I think it's time that Narasimha Rao got his Bharat Ratna. It's 33 years since 1991, and I'm glad that he has been given the Bharat Ratna. I don't want to comment on individuals whether they deserved it or did not deserve it. I want to make a different point, Barkha, because you're talking about the politicization of the Bharat Ratna. First of all, apart from the fact that Jawaharlal Nehru got the Bharat Ratna when he was not in the country, President Rajendra Prasad gave it to him, etc. I mean, that's all been clarified, as has been correctly mentioned by Mr. Kumaramangalam. The fact is, if you look at all the Bharat Ratnas that Pandit Nehru gave as Prime Minister, C.V. Raman, M. Vishweshwaraya, I mean, you look at the kind of Sarvepal Radhakrishnan, who was actually a great philosopher, Kane, a lot of scholars. So in Nehru's time, no politician other than Rajagopalachari and himself, because Rajendra Prasad chose to give it, got the Bharat Ratna. The problem with the Bharat Ratna is that it got politicized during the tenure of Indira Gandhi when she gave it to V.V. Giri and then to Kamaraj. And then subsequently, we've had people like M.G. Ramchandran, and that has been resumed by Prime Minister Modi, who has given it to mostly politicians. In fact, only politicians except MS Swaminathan. MS Swaminathan is the only non-politician. Now compare this to the Bharat Ratnas of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, P.V. Narasimha Rao, and Manmohan Singh. Three prime ministers between 1991 and 2014. These three prime ministers gave it to people like M.S. Subbalakshmi, Bismillah Khan, J.R.D. Tata, C.N.R. Rao, Satyajit Ray. I mean, you look through the list of Bharat Ratnas that Vajpayee ji, Narasimha Rao, and Manmohan Singh gave. Not a single questionable politician, not a single person you could say, oh, they needed him to win an election in Bihar, they needed him to win some votes in Uttar Pradesh, they needed him to win some votes in Telangana. I mean, what we have done today in the last 10 days, first of all, this driblets of one Bharat Ratna in January, another week after that, and then another week after that. Maybe next week we'll get Biju Patnaik and N.T. Ramarao and Jayalalitha. I mean, there's so many waiting, the leaders of allies, potential allies. So we have trivialized Bharat Ratna, the country's highest civilian honor, given to some great citizens of this country in the past. Also, some controversial decisions were taken, which nobody can justify. But today, what we have done is to devalue it to a point where we are having this conversation whether Chaudhary Charan Singh got it because RLD wants to join NDA. I mean, this is ridiculous. So I really feel happy and sad at the same time. I feel happy that Swaminathan and Chaudhary Charan Singh, who's a farm leader, I mean, I'm not going to grudge these selections. But I think it's the motivation and the timing. I mean, Narasimha Rao, for example, when the centenary was celebrated in 2021, in the year 2021, 3 years back, the Telangana Legislative Assembly unanimously passed a resolution demanding Bharat Ratna for P.V. Narasimha Rao. I wrote a column based on that at that time in the Indian Express that, why are we not honoring Narasimha Rao? Okay, I understand why Congress party found it difficult, but why should Narendra Modi find it difficult? And yet it was not given
so
to
are
him.
you are you saying no politicians, Dr. Baru? Before I know Ashwini Shahi is wanting to come in. Are you
saying no
briefly?
politicization. I'm saying no.
Who's to judge? Who's to judge? Who's to judge?
Oh, you and I, as citizens of the country. I mean, you can see the motivations. Look, there are clear political decisions. For example, I mean, I'm willing to concede that when Rajendra Prasad is the Rashtrapati, incidentally, I don't know if ordinary people are aware that the Bharat Ratna is the only honor that the President of India and the Prime Minister of India can personally give. Padma awards have always had a long procedure around them. But these are the two awards that the Rashtrapati and the Pradhan Mantri can personally select. And Rashtrapati Rajendra Prasad went along with the decision of the cabinet to give it to Nehru. Now, similarly, V.V. Giri gave it to Indira Gandhi. But apart from those two, we have had cynical political calculation behind that. Kamaraj, one, which Indira Gandhi gave, as another cynical political calculation behind M.G. Ramchandran that Rajiv Gandhi gave. So it's not as if cynical politics didn't work in the past. But I'm saying from 91 till 2014, three prime ministers ended that in a legacy. They started recognizing truly great persons. And of course, Chandrasekhar in between, 1 year prime minister, gave it to Dr. Ambedkar and to Sardar Patel. So he was correcting for history's distortions. But I think
Okay.
what has now happened is a real trivialization of these
Okay,
awards.
I want to bring in Sandeep and Rahul Dev. Ashwini ji, one sentence from you. आप कुछ कहना चाह रहे थे. डॉक्टर बारू कहते हैं this is cynical politics. और उसमें नजर आता है कि जयंत चौधरी एक तरफ कहते हैं दिल जीत लिया और उसी दिन कहते हैं कि आरएलडी अब एनडीए की तरफ जा रही है. तो इसमें राजनीति तो नजर आएगी ना.
बरखा जी, देखिए, राजनीतिक दल तो राजनीति करेंगे ही करेंगे. वो अफसर नहीं है कि अफसरशाही चलाने आए. राजनीतिक दल राजनीति करेंगे. आप किसी तरीके से जोड़ सकते हैं. बारू साहब तो मैं मान लेता हूं, बारू साहब जो भी कुछ कहें सही है कि ये पॉलिटिक्स है और टोटली पॉलिटिकल मामला है. मगर बारू साहब, बहुत विनम्रता से मैं पूछना चाहता हूं, भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने 10 लोगों को दिया जब तक 2014 के बाद से सरकार आई है, और उसके पहले 43 लोगों को दिया गया है. महामना मदन मोहन मालवीय से लेकर और आज कर्पूरी ठाकुर और स्वामीनाथन जी या ये चौधरी चरण सिंह, इनका क्या देश के लिए अपने अपने क्षेत्रों में कोई योगदान नहीं रहा? इनको दिया जाना आप पॉलिटिकल कहते हैं? चौधरी चरण सिंह जी का योगदान, चाहे आप स्वामीनाथन जी को निकाल दीजिए, कर्पूरी ठाकुर जी का योगदान हम कहते हैं, या 10 लोग जिसको दिया, उसमें प्रणब मुखर्जी जी भी हैं जो कांग्रेस के ही समय में उनके ही प्रधानमंत्री थे.
आपका कहना है अश्विनी जी कि मे बी द इंटेंट इज पॉलिटिकल, पॉलिटिशियंस विल बी पॉलिटिकल, लेकिन जिनको दिया गया है उनके योगदान, उनकी कंट्रीब्यूशन को क्वेश्चन नहीं किया जा सकता. डॉक्टर बारू, यू हैव अ सेंटेंस. रियली द अदर टू जेंटलमैन आर वेटिंग वेरी पेशेंटली. कैन वी अनम्यूट संजय बारू प्लीज? Okay, let me do it. Go ahead, Dr.
Yes,
Baru.
one can have an endless debate on this. I don't want to get into an endless debate. But Pranab Mukherjee, come on. Just yesterday, the BJP government gave a white paper criticizing the economic management in UPA2. Who was the economic manager in UPA2? Nirmala Sitharaman stands in parliament and criticizes UPA. Who was the finance minister? Yes, Pranab Mukherjee. You give him a Bharat Ratna, but his management was terrible. For what did he get his Bharat Ratna? For going to Nagpur? I mean, I don't understand. I don't think Pranab Mukherjee certainly deserved a Bharat Ratna. Or Nanaji Deshmukh, I don't want to comment.
Let's bring in the others. Let's bring in the others. Sandip, Sanjay Baru says, did Pranab Mukherjee get a Bharat Ratna for going to Nagpur, referring to the RSS headquarters? The other alternative argument could be that Modi shows up the Congress for not honoring the leaders that they had any sort of, the Gandhi family had any sort of competitive energy with. But you yourself were quite acerbic about Chaudhary Charan Singh, no disrespect to him personally. The Ayaram, Gayaram politics started there. You said Nitish Kumar's flip-flops have a future now. So it's not as if, any of us are sort of innocent enough to remove the politics from what's happening. Sandeep Ghosh, go ahead.
First of all, taking a cue from Dr. Baru, I must start with a confession and an admission because lest I be criticized later. Today, when your producer called me, I told him that the first decision I will take if I'm ever made the Prime Minister is to award the Bharat Ratna to you.
To me?
To Barkha Dutt. I think that's the reason I got called.
Good taste.
So later on, people should not tell me that, it was undeserving or it was kind of... it was done for vested interests.
Jokes aside,
Jokes aside, seriously, I think everybody made points. Barkha is very difficult to disagree with today. Each one of us have made. I haven't made this yet. I think everybody has a point in whatever they have said, one way or the other. And you are absolutely right. There is very difficult to say that these things are not politics. In fact, in the earlier case, I and Dr. Baru had exchanged some note, about the previous, I think, Karpoori Thakur's on Advani's thing. We said about whether even the timing sometimes is, we were debating why didn't give them together. And at that point in time, he had also raised the issue about the 4 days delay. I said, you couldn't steal the thunder of one with the other. So he said, makes it political. I said, yes, timing is also political. And so those could be reasons. So there is definitely politics in this. So therefore, we have to distinguish between two things, the merit and the politics. There is definitely politics, but the question is whether there was no merit in any of the selection. And that's where we may be having a divided opinion on that issue. And that's again the part of, I think, what Dr. Baru's own book about the old elite and the new elite. So some people may not think a Karpoori Thakur or a Nanaji Deshmukh, etc., are deserving. Somebody else may think so in today's context, and therefore, when we sit in judgment, there may be those, So I don't think per se we can really talk of anybody who was totally undeserving and who was, including when we talk about whether it's a Nehru or Indira Gandhi and others, even if it was self-aborted, nobody will really say that they were not qualifying for that. And I think where we are, you always tell me that I am selectively critical of Narendra Modi. I think we all need to be, because there are two sets of people today. I find one who wake up in the morning to criticize Narendra Modi, another set of people who wake up before they say, and
hence my line, Chamcha Morcha.
So, they wake up and any speech, anything, they start by thanking the Prime Minister. But, where we are unfair, while we are telling that, his selection of Bharat Ratnas have been political, nobody has given him credit, or at least his critics have not given him credit, for the way he has gone about selecting from the Padma Shri to the Padma Bhushan, etc., the way he has done away with those kind of lobbying, etc., which used to, all of us know how it used to happen. Barkha, no reflection on your Padma Shri, though. How it was done.
Anyway, I'm moving up and getting a Bharat Ratna, so it's okay.
Yeah, you are. That's why I wanted to make it very clear.
No. I've learned to grow a thick skin in this universe of ours.
So
I'm taking all of this strictly as a joke, by the way, lest somebody thinks I'm taking all of it very seriously. But yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So therefore, people don't give him the credit for this. So that also should be seen. So if everybody else has done politics, Mr. Narendra Modi has, by his own admission, he understands politics better than anybody else. So he is doing his own bit of politics in this. But I'll just take one last comment, which therefore the additional dimension. I think what Narendra Modi is today doing, he is basically trying to appropriate or own up also the space being vacated by Congress. As Congress is shrinking, that universe which was earlier, it was there, who are getting released. So whether it's a Pranab Mukherjee or a Narasimha Rao and others, he is gradually appropriating them to make BJP really the kind of position earlier Congress was, that, they were really hatta dhatta karta bidhata kind of a thing. That is the position he's trying to bring BJP.
Sorry, I'm going to have to cut you short because Rahul's been waiting. But that last point is a very interesting point, Rahul, which is that for the opposition, what is the ideological space now left to occupy? Because the Prime Minister and the BJP rather has moved to co-opt the sort of the caste engineering, the caste politics space, the Hindutva space, the nationalism space, the Labharti scheme, so therefore the welfareism space. So I think that point is very interesting, that you occupy all of these spaces, leaving very little room for ideological maneuvering by the opposition. Rahul, how do you see it? One second, Rahul. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's a very acute observation, and one cannot but agree with it. So he has shown a political smart that is rare, I would say. He thinks not just ahead of his time, but far and wide, and he doesn't let any ideological differences or party differences come in the way of appropriating any figure, historical figure, or any narrative or principle that will sort of fortify the growing fortress BJP. Buttresses, all kinds of buttresses. But this is so far as this point is concerned, and we have to concede it to him. I would wanted to say, and Sanjay Baru has said more than I could I'd have said in much better way. You see, there is a contradiction in the way the Bharat Ratnas are being given and the way the Padma Awards are being given. I credit Narendra Modi and his government for widening the scope and making it really democratic and non-political so far as the Padma Awards are concerned. Earlier, they were more or less political and based on personal likes and dislikes and proximity to the powers. But when it comes to the highest civilian award in the country, which is Bharat Ratna, you see that barring exceptions like MS Swaminathan, and which also ties up with the award to Charan Singh, because both sort of appeal to the farmers, to the farming lobby. Uh, this increasingly sort of monopoly of politicians, and what kind of politicians? Most of these people, and the long list you can take, they have been in positions of supreme power or very, very high power in for very long periods of their life. They have enjoyed power, position, influence, impact, and national respect, I would say. Place. At
Yeah.
least we can leave the Bharat Ratna to non-political figures and real Bharat Ratnas who have
That's a
who have not got that kind of a recognition. I
Rahul,
think
you
it
make
will
a
be, yeah,
Yeah, so you make a very interesting point about comparing it to the Padmas, where the Padma Awards have
yeah,
been, in a sense, really widened to include people who are at the grassroots. It's a very, very grassroots recognition
yeah.
of the Padma Awards, and the Bharat Ratna, you believe, contrasts with this. Now, Sandeep also makes an important point. You've got to
One point.
distinguish. Yeah, yeah,
One
Sandeep.
point.
Okay.
Lest we lose it later on. I think the Bharat Ratna is also going through a similar expansion. You see, earlier it was a very small political coterie, or people who were again part of that new, the old elite who were getting recognized. You will find, my thing is, in due course, you will find the same kind of egalitarianism happening even in Bharat Ratna. You'll get very uncelebrated people we don't know of. And
But
so,
right now, Sandeep,
right now,
right
say
now,
Karpoori Thakur, let me give, so many people didn't know about, younger generation haven't
and
even heard of
therefore,
it.
your question is, your point was an important one. Can you separate the merit from the politics? I don't think anybody with their eyes open can get up and say there's no politics. Each move, each choice, there's deep politics. Does that make those honored non-deserving? I think that's the point that you made. Now, I want to play out two political bites. One before I come to Mohan, the other before I come to Ashwini Shahi. Sonia Gandhi, asked in Parliament today by reporters, what is your response? This is what Sonia Gandhi says. Take a look.
Ma'am, Bharat Ratna has been given to
Chaudhary Charan ji ko.
Ma'am, and Narasimha Rao ji has been given Bharat Ratna. Ma'am, what do you have to say about it?
I welcome them. Why not? Then you come to Jayant Chaudhary. And you could argue that Sonia Gandhi could have been a little more warm about Mr. Rao, but maybe that's, as Mohan said, not in the history of the relationship. Then hang on, Mohan. Then Jayant Chaudhary. This is also open politics. Jayant Chaudhary asked about reports that the RLD is joining the NDA, switching sides, moving away from Akhilesh Yadav to the BJP. This is what he says.
पाने की अब आप भाजपा के साथ हाथ मिलाने के लिए तैयार हो आप भाजपा के साथ हाथ मिला रहे हैं।
देखिए कोई कसर रहती है, आज मैं किस मुंह से इनकार करूं आपके सवाल। जो आपने बात पूछा कि कांग्रेस में पहले निर्णय नहीं लिया गया, मैं तो अंदर से जानता हूं कितनी बार चौधरी अजीत सिंह जी के मन में बात उठी, कितने बार उन्होंने प्रयास किए। बहुत मुश्किल से फिर एक बड़ा अच्छा कदम लिया गया था UPA 2 के टाइम कि लखनऊ उस समय अमौसी एयरपोर्ट था, वहां चौधरी साहब की प्रतिमा, विशाल प्रतिमा लगाई गई और उसका नाम बदला गया, चौधरी चरण सिंह जी के नाम से आज वो एयरपोर्ट है। मैं जानता हूं कितने गदगद हुए थे चौधरी अजीत सिंह जी उस फैसले से। आज अगर चौधरी अजीत सिंह जी जिंदा होते, कितने प्रसन्न होते, ये मैं अच्छी तरह समझ सकता हूं।
तो मतलब ये जयंत जी, ये मान लें कि अब आप भारतीय जनता पार्टी के साथ उनके शर्तों के अनुसार उनको ज्वाइन करेंगे और फिर आप यूपी में चुनाव।
देखिए, आज कोई शर्त और सीट और चुनाव की बात करना, आज के दिन के महत्व को छोटा करना होगा। ये दिन, ये पल बार बार नहीं आते और इस जश्न में सब लोग शामिल।
मैं किस मुंह से आज मना करूं अश्विनी जी? सबसे पहले ये तो बिल्कुल ओपन पॉलिटिकल लिंक हुआ ना, यही तो डॉक्टर बारू और राहुल देव कह रहे हैं। लेकिन संदीप की बात भी ठीक है, दैट डजंट मीन ही इज नॉट डिजर्विंग, इट जस्ट मीन्स देयर इज आल्सो डीप पॉलिटिक्स अटैच्ड टू इट। पहले आप और फिर मोहन ऑन सोनिया गांधी रादर फ्रॉस्टी रिस्पांस। अश्विनी,
देखिए, पॉलिटिशियन के अलावा एक पोते हैं वो, अगर किसी के दादा को जो उनके महान कार्यों के लिए भारत का सर्वोच्च सम्मान दिया जाता है, तो उन्होंने कोई गलत नहीं कहा, किस मुंह से मना करूं? कांग्रेस ने तो नहीं दिया। कांग्रेस ने तो इतने दिन तक, अगर उनके नजर में हो सकता है कि चौधरी चरण सिंह जी की जो ये किसान से लेकर और प्रधानमंत्री तक का पहुंच जो है वो छोटी चीज रही हो सकता है वो उतने महान न रहे हो कांग्रेस की नजर में, लेकिन भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने सबका सम्मान किया। और अभी 30 सेकंड लूंगा कि जो पद्मश्री की बात चली, देखिए किस तरीके से पद्मश्री पहले बांटे जाते थे और अब पद्मश्री कैसे दिया जा रहा है, इसको भी देखने वाली चीज है। तो भारत के इतिहास में इस तरीके के महान लोगों को, जिसको नहीं कोई जान रहा उसको भी और जिसको लोग जान रहे हैं उसको भी, आज हम देख रहे हैं सभी लड़के आज जो है सब जान रहे हैं, आज की नई युवा पीढ़ी देख रही कि ये भी कोई था। चौधरी चरण सिंह जी के बारे में किसान से लेकर नौजवान तक जानता है। कर्पूरी ठाकुर को आप हो सकता है कि बिहार तक और उस समय के लोगों तक सीमित कर सकें, लेकिन अब वो इतिहास में पढ़ाए जाएंगे। कर्पूरी ठाकुर के बारे में, उनके योगदान के बारे में लोग जानेंगे। जैसे महामना मालवीय के बारे में हम लोगों ने देखा नहीं था लेकिन पढ़ा है। हम लोग नानाजी देशमुख के बारे में, अभी बारू साहब ने कहा क्या नानाजी देशमुख का क्या मतलब, ये एक एक व्यक्ति को हम कहें तो कैटेगरी में अभी बहुत सी महान विभूतियां बची हैं। मैं ये भी कह रहा हूं जो आप लोग कांग्रेस वाले नहीं कर पाए, हम लोग अभी उनको और देने का काम करेंगे। तीसरा टर्म हम फिर आ रहे हैं और लोगों को देंगे। जी
चलिए, तीसरा टर्म के बारे में अभी नहीं बात करते हैं, लेकिन आपका कहना है कि अगर आए तो और भी लोग हैं, उसमें डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह जैसे लोग भी शामिल हैं, which takes me to you, Mohan. The point is, of course, this politics, but the Congress was not stopped from playing that political hand either. And it is not as if, as Sanjay Baru said, that the Congress has never played a political hand, right? It's not as if the Congress is sort of, you know, doodh mein dhula hua, right? So what is the angst today? Hang on, Mohan, let me unmute you. Yeah, go ahead, Mohan. Yeah.
So I never started saying there's any angst. I mean, I'm honest about the fact that we have a complicated relationship with Narasimha Rao, but Mrs. Gandhi very eloquently said, yeah, we welcome it. Why not? You wanted her to elaborate. I don't think she is very verbose when she comes to her responses with the press. So I think it'd be a little unfair by saying that she was frosty. The other thing I'll say is that यही चौधरी चरण सिंह जी इतने महान, इनकी महानता तब याद नहीं आई 10 साल पहले जब इनके बेटे को धक्के मार के उनके घर से बाहर निकाले थे आप, तब उनका पोता आपके साथ अलायंस में नहीं था ना, शायद इसलिए याद नहीं आए। और मुझे पक्का पता है कि आप कई लोग ढूंढेंगे, कई और आए होंगे जिनको आपको भारत रत्न देना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि उनके पोते भी होंगे ना जिनको आपने अलायंस में देखना है, क्योंकि परिवारवाद तो दिखता नहीं है आपको। जब आपके पास लोग आ जाते हैं तो परिवारवाद खत्म हो जाता है, भ्रष्टाचार भी खत्म हो जाता है।
It's a fair point, Ashwini ji. But Ashwini ji, एक minute. Can I come to the others? Then I promise you I'll come to you after that. Dr. Baru, you've made the point about the trivialization of the Bharat Ratna, but I think Sandip Ghosh makes an important point about the distinction between merit and politics. Politics is going to be there in every government's move.
No, you see, that's not the point. I mean, look, Karpoori Thakur is not the first person from the other India to get a Bharat Ratna. Acharya Vinoba Bhave got it. And when Acharya Vinoba Bhave got it from Indira Gandhi, the masses, the young people of that generation may not even have known who Acharya Vinoba Bhave was. Or even for that matter, Kamaraj was a man of the masses. So Karpoori was not the first man of the masses. There is no paradigm shift happening under this government. I think, you know, the point I'm really making is that between 91 and 2014, under three very distinguished prime ministers of both the Congress and the BJP, Narasimha Rao, Atal Bihari Vajpayee and Manmohan Singh, you look at the list of Bharat Ratnas, just look at that list. Go back to the first 10 Bharat Ratnas under Jawaharlal Nehru, C.V. Raman, Vishweshwaraya, Khane, you know, I forget the Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, who as a philosopher got it, not as a vice president. You know, so Nehru also gave it to educationists. Narasimha Rao gave it to Satyajit Ray and J.R.D. Tata, the only businessman who got a Bharat Ratna, and very deservingly so. They changed the paradigm. Atalji gave it to Lata Mangeshkar, Bismillah Khan, you know, MS Subbulakshmi. Manmohan Singh gave it to Sachin Tendulkar, C.N.R. Rao. You know, so we went through a phase in which the Bharat Ratna was being given to people who made an intellectual contribution, an artistic contribution to the people of India, not to one political party. They did not contribute to the growth of one political party.
But it
So
could
they
be
were
argued. It could be argued. It could be argued that from Nehru to Charan Singh to Pranab Mukherjee to L.K. Advani, I mean, all of the politicians, they didn't contribute just to their parties. They have had lasting legacies, perhaps imperfect legacies.
Depends. Yeah,
Perhaps
madam,
imperfect.
Advani,
I'm not glorifying
question
them,
mark.
but I'm saying that depends on your own personal ideology. I'm saying they've had an impact on India, all of them. Good,
Yeah,
bad,
of course
ugly,
it
they've
depends.
all had an
Of
impact
course
on
it
India.
depends. Barkha, sorry to be debating, but of course it depends on one's ideology. But nobody's ideology will question Amartya Sen or MS Swaminathan or C.V. Raman or Mokshagundam Vishweshwaraya, or Bismillah Khan or Lata Mangeshkar or Sachin Tendulkar. No politician can criticize any of these decisions. That's the distinction I'm making.
Okay, Rahul, do you agree with Dr. Baru, or do you feel that it's naive to expect in an election year for every move of every party not to be deeply political? You have Mayawati today, for instance, saying why not for
Yeah,
Kanchi Ram? Aap Kanchi Ram ji ko bhul gaye.
that's right. You are only raising the aspirations and demands of a whole variety of people by primarily giving it to politicians. And I repeat my point. Most of these people, they have been prime ministers, chief ministers, very major political. They have wielded power at very, very high levels, if not the supreme level, the highest levels. Uh, cannot can the Bharat Ratna not be primarily given to people who have not wielded power, political power or state power, yet the state honors them, and it honors itself by honoring these citizens, their contribution. Because I mean, these are double rewards. You become a prime minister, you become a major political leader, you enjoy power so long as you are there, and yet, whether posthumously or while you are alive, you are also given the highest civilian honor. What about others? At this rate, every state in this country has at least 24 people who have contributed immensely to various facets of national life, including politics. So, I mean, there has to be some rarity attached to Bharat Ratna. It's a rare award. It cannot be just a political, I would say, reverie of a different kind. And when the timing and the political reasons are so palpably obvious.
Yes.
I mean, you don't need a debate on these names. The reasons are so clear in your face. It lowers the dignity and the position, the sort of place that in which we hold the Bharat Ratna. It lowers the
Lowers the
sort of
prestige.
sanctity of the award.
Now you have a line. This is not a political reverie. Ashwini ji, before I close, I'll give you the last word. ये political reverie नहीं है. आप इसको एक तरह से नीचा कर रहे हैं. इसकी जो sanctity थी, इसकी जो rareness थी, उसको आप कम दर्जे पे ला रहे हैं.
बरखा जी, देखिए, यहाँ पैनल में आपके समेत जितने भी लोग बैठे हुए हैं, सभी अपने अपने क्षेत्र के माहिर हैं, विद्वत लोग हैं, और इसमें मुझे कुछ कहना नहीं है. लेकिन एक बात मैं मोहन जी को कह के फिर जो है आगे बात करता हूँ. मोहन जी, वो धक्के मार के निकालना नहीं होता, वो संवैधानिक उसका पालना कराना होता है कि आप नहीं है सांसद तो आप बाहर रहिए. जब आप रहेंगे तो आपका सम्मान रहेगा. धक्के मारकर निकाल उसको कहते हैं, जो धोती खोला था आप लोगों ने सीताराम केसरी का, उसको धक्के मारकर निकालना कहते हैं. याद रखिएगा. दूसरा संजय बारू जी की मैं बात का जवाब देता हूं. संजय बारू जी, आपने बार बार कहा इस चीज को, मेरा सिर्फ एक वो है कि 1948 में जो है के बाद से और अभी तक 91 तक क्या B.R. अम्बेडकर साहब का और उस देश की हिंदुस्तान की आजादी में महान योगदान देने वाले पटेल साहब का कोई योगदान नहीं था कि जो उनको 91 में दिया गया, और 55 में जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी ने स्वयं ले लिया, जिसको इन लोगों ने कहा कि हाँ दिया गया और ऐसे दिया गया, चलिए आप ही की बात मान लेते हैं. 55 और 91 क्या उनका कोई कंट्रीब्यूशन नहीं था? अगर वो उतनी स्टेट आजाद उस तरीके से वल्लभ भाई पटेल का प्रयास ना होता तो क्या होता? नेहरू जी 0 वोट पाने के बाद प्रधानमंत्री बन गए, वल्लभ भाई पटेल नहीं बने. उसके बाद उनको 91 तक का इंतजार क्यों कराया कांग्रेस ने? और दूसरा B.R. अम्बेडकर जिसने हमको संविधान दिया, उनको 91 तक का इंतजार क्यों कराया? और राहुल जी, आपकी बात ये रेवड़ी नहीं है, तो अगर रेवड़ी नहीं है तो मैंने पहले कहा कि जिसको जिसको मिला है उसकी योगदान की कमी नहीं है। तो ये रेवड़ी जो है इंदिरा जी ने 71 में ले लिया, राजीव गांधी ने 91 में ले लिया, ये क्यों ले लिया रेवड़ी? ये रेवड़ियां आप लोगों को उस समय भी याद आनी चाहिए। और आप प्रखर जो है प्रस्तोता हैं, लेखक हैं, आपको लिखना चाहिए कॉलम इस पर, धकाधक लिखना चाहिए कि राजीव गांधी ने जो है जो काम किया गलत किया, इंदिरा जी का ने कल आज ही लिखना चाहिए, कल के अखबारों में आना चाहिए, कल के टीवी डिबेट में आना चाहिए कि राहुल जी ने लिखा, संजय बारू जी ने किताब में अपने एक अंश लिखा कि ये गलत किया था कांग्रेस ने और आज उसको सही किया गया। जी
Dr. Baru, very briefly, and then I'll give Sandip the last word. Yeah, okay, Dr. Baru, yeah, okay, Mohan, 1 second.
क्या है कि B.R. अम्बेडकर जी और पटेल जी को नहीं देना गलत काम था, मैंने लिखा है. So mistakes have been made in the past, and some mistakes are getting corrected. But that is not my fundamental point. My fundamental point, as Rahul said correctly, is that Bharat Ratna is the nation's highest civilian honor. Don't give it to people in politics because they already have power. Give it to a C.V. Raman, to today's Satyajit Ray, so to the great Indians who have made India great. Politicians are not the only people who have made India great.
Okay, Rahul, very quickly. Rahul Dev.
He has the right to say what he likes. You see, अश्विनी जी, अभी हम लोग अभी चर्चा कर रहे हैं, तो अभी जो हमें ठीक लग रहा है हम वो कह रहे हैं। हमें तब लिखना चाहिए था, तब लिखा था कि नहीं लिखा था, इससे हमारी बात ना सही हो जाएगी ना गलत हो जाएगी। बात ये है कि ये एक असाधारण, इट्स एन एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी, द हाईएस्ट सिविलियन अवार्ड. Politicians, by their very nature of their job, already have enjoyed power and impact and respect and contribution. Their contribution is well recognized. Most of these people, they have their anniversaries celebrated every year in their respective fields and respective states. There are awards in their names. There are statues. Dr. Ambedkar, does he need a Bharat Ratna? Frankly, I mean, every second village in this country has his statue. He's like a demigod for a very large number of people. Does he? I mean, does he need us or the state or government of India to recognize the contribution? No, I don't think this is what this award was meant for and it should be used for.
Okay,
this is my point.
And I think both of you acknowledge that it's not that the Congress has not trivialized it in its time in choices that it's made. Mohan, did you still have something to say? Sandeep, 30 seconds after that, we are very over time.
तो अश्विनी जी को मैं तो सिर्फ अश्विनी जी को ये कहना चाह रहा था कि सरदार पटेल जी से आप इतना प्यार करते हैं कि एक स्टेडियम उनके नाम में था मोटेरा में, वो भी आपने बदल के नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नाम में कर दिया। तो ये टिप्पणियां छोड़िए जी, आपने नया स्टेडियम जब बनाया उनका नाम भूल गए।
तो अभी भी है एक स्टेडियम, उसमें से नरेंद्र मोदी स्टेडियम है, बाकी संकुल वही है, पटेल संकुल ही है वो।
That's a very separate stadium. I think we are conflating two different issues, and I think this is again a distortion as a conflation. But I like Rahulji's statement. By that token, I hope the Gandhi family will never get anything, because practically every city, every stadium, every road, everything is named after some Gandhi or the other, and they were named even before they died or whatever. So I think there should be a policy that for the rest of our history, nothing more should go to the Gandhi family. If that is the logic accepted, is fine. But coming back to Charan Singh for a moment, first point has been already made by Ashwini ji. Just because my grandfather, luckily my grandfather and forefathers were never so famous, did something doesn't absolve me from any wrongdoing. That does not give me a right that I cannot move out. That's a separate issue. But talking of Charan Singh, I would not exclude politicians, because politicians' contribution is sometimes much bigger than they're having. It's a matter of coincidence that Charan Singh became a prime minister for a short period. But today I was corrected on that tweet by our mutual friend Ashok Malik. He said, don't go by the general gossip. Look at what Charan Singh's contribution has been to the UP agri community, the so-called, who are now the OBCs and those people. So his contribution go much beyond that. So we have to see. And the last point, where again I agree with Rahul ji, I think, say, his grandson has not done him any favor by today saying, making it appear as if it was a quid pro quo. Or this timing, which everybody, Mr. Modi himself has done. I think those are very, very valid points. But coming back to what I told you earlier, I think we must be critical to judge the merit versus the politics.
Okay, there is also a technical question. I don't know. Apparently, only 3 Bharat Ratnas can be given in a year. So, are these all going to be administered together? I don't know if this is correct. If Dr. Baru, would you know? Is there any such cap? Is there any such cap?
No, I'm not aware, but I don't think so. I think.
Okay. Yeah, that's what one was reading. So I was wondering about that technical point. But be that as it may, I think for anybody to expect anything but deeply political decisions in an election year is naive. That said, I think there's very valid points being made about what is this award meant to be about. This is not about Congress and BJP, but what is it actually meant to be about? The debate continues. Some very interesting perspectives here, all in good humor. Thank you so much, Ashwini Shahi, Rahul Dev, Dr. Baru, Mohan, and Sandip Ghosh. Always a pleasure. Take care. See you soon.
So your Bharat Ratna awaits.
Mojo Story has always made a commitment to its viewers to go to where the story is. And as you can see here, we are at the epicenter of the Israel war on Gaza. We are right at the front line, about 1 mile from the Gaza Strip, as the Israeli military gets ready with its tanks and its gunners to begin its final frontal assault that will take troops into Gaza. As we said, we are not like other organizations. We believe in giving you all sides of the story objectively and as much as possible from the ground. And that's exactly what we're doing here, covering the biggest global story today from the epicenter of the war zone. So please, we need your support. Support us, become a Mojo member, subscribe to us, spread the word, and thank you for your support.